Hello and welcome into another edition of the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast, live on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, and X account. We come to you live every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time to break down the greatest game there is, Idaho 8-Man football. My name is Brandon Maney. We'll bring on our panelists here in just a moment, but first, the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast is brought to you by Ideal, Idaho College Savings Program, idsaves.org for more details there. And we'll talk about a really cool contest that Ideal is doing for the second year in a row, a little bit later on in the show. But without further ado, let's bring on our 8-man panel of experts, the owner proprietor of Idaho 8-Man X and Instagram accounts. It is Will Henneke. What's going on, Will?
We got some thunder and lightning here in the Western Canyon County area. So if it suddenly gets really dark or anything like that, or maybe if it suddenly gets really bright, something funny might have happened here live on the internet.
Okay, well, we'll hang with you as long as your internet allows us to. So we appreciate any time we can get from Will Henneke. So thank you. Okay, let's bring on also from beautiful Cary, Idaho, nestled in the Sawtooth area there in the central part of the state. It is former Cary head coach Lane Kirkland. What's going on, Coach Kirkland?
Hey, great to be back again this evening. We do have some of those same thunderstorms rocking and rolling today. Got drenched at junior high practice today. It was awesome. It was fun. No coat, just went with it. Maybe we'll get some flashes and a flash flood, which would be welcomed here in dry old Cary in the desert. Nothing but sagebrush. So looking forward to some good talk of football tonight.
For sure. Now, we talked about on last week's show, Coach Kirkland, you are broadcasting from your home this year, not at the Cary School, and you were going to show us a different part of your house every single episode. So where are you broadcasting from tonight?
So we're still in the Kirkland Coliseum down here in the basement. Scoreboard sticker on the wall. Score is still 24-7. It's been that way for a couple of years, and time is still on the clock. So I was going to throw an offer out there to anyone that has a score of 24-7 and send your school $50, but it's got to be 24-7. So somebody has got to kick an extra
the PAT.
Point.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll keep track of it this year, and maybe pizza will be on me if you can kick.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. $50 for a school that can produce evidence of a final score of 24-7. I love it. Yeah, you don't see the extra points all the time in 8-man football. So, yeah.
Watch for that.
Too bad the Timo, the foreign exchange student for Garden Valley, is back in his home country of Germany.
Oh, man. We'll have to look for some other ones.
Maybe good thing. Now Coach doesn't have to buy pizza for all of Garden Valley.
Yep, for sure.
$50 worth. Yeah, $50 worth. Domino's may not deliver there, but we'll do what we can.
Yeah, we'll see what we can manufacture there. Hey, here's our good friend Hayden Uhlencott, co-host of the North Idaho Prepcast in the chat. Brandon, this is not the normal setup. What's going on? Yes. Fans of the 8-Man Prepcast may remember in years past, occasionally I will be live on location from my parents' home in Montana because sometimes I have to travel for work, and I'm actually on my way to Pocatello for this weekend's Rocky Mountain Rumble inside the ICCU Dome there at Idaho State University. And I'm old now, so I just like breaking the trip up over a couple of days because from where I live to get to Pocatello is about 9 hours in the car. That's a lot for one day. So if I can break it up, kind of stop not quite halfway through, makes things a little easier. So I am broadcasting from one of the guest bedrooms at my parents' home here in Montana. You'll see on the wall behind me here some great decor. Let me duck out of the way. This is kind of an alliteration. Coach Kirkland is the guy leading the donkey, Will, and we'll stay tuned to see which one is the true donkey for tonight. You or I.
You're the one who has to stop after 4 hours in the car, so I think you've taken an early lead in that race.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll wear the donkey crown tonight for sure. Yeah, Hayden says the horse on the wall gave it away. Yeah, it's actually a donkey, but close enough for sure. So yeah, you can enjoy the nice
low horse.
Yes. Hey, here's a good friend of yours, Coach, Horror 365, also from Montana. Love the setup, Lane. So
hey, thanks, Ethan. You're the man.
Yep.
No
Okay.
one's commenting on the ceiling fan growing out of my head. We're talking about the donkeys on the wall and the scoreboard behind Lane. Nobody's talking about the ceiling fan growing out of my head.
Nope.
Come on, fans. Come on, fans. Where's our fans?
Fans. That's right.
Maybe
I
I
like
am
it.
the donkey after all.
Donkey rule number 1. If you have to ask if you're the donkey,
You're the donkey. Fair enough.
Bad call.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get it started, guys. Let's take a look at what happened over the previous week in 8-man football. We did this last week where I kind of shared my screen and showed you the Friday night flash. Let's see if I can get that up there. Okay, so this was what happened last Friday across the 8-man landscape. These are the 1A scores. You had Centennial Baptist beat Wilder 36-32. Deary shut out Troy 46-0. Garden City in a tight one over Idaho City 20-14. Genesee beat Lapway 48-18. Kendrick all over Butte County 68-0. Grace beats Oakley 52-6. And then the 1As, North Gem beats the Utah Military Academy. We'll talk more about that, 40-20. Chalice shuts out Showban 52-0. And then you also had Wallace to beat Timberline of Weippe 68-26. And then if we go to Saturday's games from last week as well, you will see Lewis County and Coeur de Christ. Coeur de Christ won that game. We don't have the score there. And then Lakeside and Clark Fork, the Wampus Cats, picked up a nice victory there as well. And then Hagerman and Logos, a game we had on IdahoSports.com. Logos ended up winning that game. So that's kind of just a sampling of the final scores that happened from last week. And let's start with, as we do every week here on the Idaho 8-man Prepcast, our game of the week. This was the most exciting game, start to finish, from last week. And, Will, there was really only one choice. It was that wild game between Wilder and Centennial Baptist. Mustangs earned the come-from-behind 36-32 victory. Wilder led this game 24-0 with a minute to go until halftime. Centennial Baptist scores just before the half to make it 24-6. And then in the third quarter, Centennial Baptist scores, gets a fumble recovery, scores, gets a fumble recovery, scores, gets a fumble recovery. All of a sudden, they're up 28-24. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, 8 minutes to go. Wilder retakes the lead, 32-28. But one final drive for the Mustangs of Centennial Baptist. They march all the way down the field and score. Caleb West from 8 yards out with just a minute 2 to play on the clock. Defense holds from there. Will, for Centennial Baptist, a school that we have not had the opportunity to talk about a lot, you'll remember they didn't even play last year until October. They only played 4 games in their conference. This was a significant win, and really only one person saw this coming, and that was Coach Kirkland. Coach Kirkland actually picked Centennial Baptist to win that game. So, Will, first of all, I want to go to you because you've been covering the 8-man game for a long time. This was a historic moment for Centennial Baptist football.
Yeah, Centennial Baptist's first win as a standalone program. You mentioned that they played about a half season last year, and in years previous to that, if they had athletes that wanted to play football, they co-opt with Gem State, Greenleaf, someone like that, formed a cooperative. So this is the first win for Centennial Baptist as a standalone program in really their first, quote unquote 0-week game. And I think it showed some fantastic resilience to come back and get that win. And, they don't have the largest roster in the world, but what they have is they have a couple of pretty good athletes. And one of them that they got out, you mentioned Caleb West, the game-winning touchdown run. This is a young man that plays basketball, runs track, does other things there, but is playing football for the first time. And you go out in your first varsity football game as a senior and score the game-winning touchdown. You might have gone home afterwards and said, man, maybe I could have done this. I could have done this a year or two earlier and maybe had some more memories. But boy, it's a great story for Centennial Baptist. You go, you get that win, you get that monkey off your back. And for that young man, for Caleb West and for his teammates, because this was a home game. They don't have their own field per se, but it was their own field. It was in front of their own fans, and they came back. Most times you'll see a team get down 24-0, and that's not necessarily all she wrote, but sometimes that's all she wrote. So to see them answer back and make the plays and come back and get the win. That's quite a statement for the Mustangs.
Yeah, they play their games at West Middle School in Nampa. And so Caleb West had a game-winning rushing touchdown, had a receiving touchdown as well. Uriah Kolb had a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and then the quarterback, Gavin Kolb, 26-yard touchdown run as well. So, Coach Kirkland, we're doing something new this year where we are picking all of the games every week on keeping track of the season-long totals. We'll talk more about this at the end of the show, but you will notice here after 1 week of action, Coach Kirkland is leading 8-3. You went 8-3. Will and I both went 7-4. So we're both a game back. The difference was this Centennial Baptist game. So what did you know that Will and I didn't?
Yeah, it was a guess, but you never know. It's time for programs to have a win and a victory. And I think that's where we went with that. And what a great way to start our season. Man, oh man, that'll be some confidence. That'll be a thrill. I imagine practice Monday and Tuesday and today was awesome, getting ready for more action again this week. So, yeah, a little bit of luck, but also some belief in Centennial Baptist.
I talked to Wilder head coach Josh Duty a little bit over the weekend, and obviously he's disappointed with the outcome, but he's excited as well. He only has 2 seniors on his team. This is a very, very young team. And, sometimes you have to run into those walls before you can figure out how to walk around them. And for the coaches in Wilder, they feel like they got something coming there. And an opportunity like this to be a teaching moment, Coach, you can probably speak to this a lot more. You take the negative and you turn it into a positive. Hey, boys, we had them where we wanted. Now we just got to learn how to put our foot down and end the game and not let them back up.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where Wilder will go with that. And they'll continue to improve as well. And no reason to hang ahead, but learn. And I know they will. Yeah,
in general, this is a young league. Centennial Baptist is somewhat young. They do have some seniors, of course, they're leading on. Wilder, very young. Idaho City, very young. Notice only has a couple of seniors. And really, like Rimrock has a ton of seniors. So Rimrock and Centennial Baptist are kind of the 2 older teams. And then there's going to be a lot of talent coming back in future seasons. So look out for the Western Idaho Conference this year. It's going to be must-watch football. And that was the only game from District 3's WIC in week 1. Everybody else was idle. Kind of a light stretch of games overall amongst the 2A ranks here in week 1. I think the next biggest headline outside of this huge win for Centennial Baptist was the rematch of the 2A state championship from a season ago. It was Kendrick, Butte County. They were meeting in the middle in Homedale. Kendrick wins 68-0. Maddox Kirkland, 14 of 19 passing, 336 yards, 5 touchdowns through the air for Kendrick. Tanner Clemenhagen, welcome back. 3 rushing touchdowns after missing last season to pursue a junior hockey career in Spokane. And Nathan Twite, welcome back. He missed all of last season with an injury. 5 catches, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. So Kendrick picking up right where they left off. Ty Kep gets a win. 19-year-old head coach, 1-0 in his career. But the bigger storyline here, Coach Kirkland, was news we heard at the very end of last week's 8-man Prepcast, and that is that Butte County senior quarterback Keaton Archibald sustained a pretty significant injury on a camping trip just before the start of the season, and it definitely affected Butte County, their game plan coming in. He's kind of the heartbeat of the team, leader at quarterback, and so when that happens so close to the start of your season opener, you're basically just trying to go back to the basics and the fundamentals. That's
a tough loss for those guys. Keaton being obviously a leader in that crew, in the championship game when he went out, the boys still fought hard, but he was a heartbeat that they were missing there on the field as one of the horses. And so not having him there was a tough deal, and facing a very great Kendrick team as well with all those players coming back. Now, I'm telling you, when you have players come back from an injury, especially a year off, and they were great and they contributed right away, that says a lot about their character and their talent, and where they're going to head this season with some more Tiger football. But the Butte County Pirates will rally. Sam will get those guys going again. They face, I think, Valley this weekend, and they will not be undefeated, and they'll just pick up where they left off and learn once again from that beatdown that someone else has got to step up, and I imagine all the Pirates will.
Yeah. Will, this was a game that you were at, and I don't know if you had a chance to talk to Coach Sam Thorngren afterwards or over the weekend or anything for Butte County, but it just seems like every once in a while there's a game where it's just hard to engage. And then that snowball starts rolling down the hill, and next thing you know, you're down 60-0.
Yeah, it's Coach mentioned Keaton Archibald. He was there. He was doing it the best he could from the sidelines, but you just cannot replace the experience and the savvy and the IQ that young man has on the field as the quarterback and the safety when you really only have like 2 or 3 days to prepare. So not to make any excuses, but I'm sure if you were to ask around, Butte County knew it was going to be a tall order against a really good Kendrick team to begin with. Then you take Keaton out of the mix and you put a young man back there at quarterback, Connor Williams, who's just learning to play the position. And you just, to a degree, you're just trying to kind of hold on and not let that snowball roll. And in my experience in athletics, as an athlete, when that's all you're doing is trying to keep the snowball from rolling, that's generally when the snowball rolls. And that's kind of what happened a little bit in that game. They received the opening kickoff. They actually picked up a first down or two, gained some yardage, got stopped on a fourth down. But then Kendrick went down the field in, not very many plays and scored. And I was on the Butte County sideline. You could almost feel there were some people over there saying, "Uh-oh, here we go." And again, when that thought creeps into your mind, that's what happens. There's a really famous quote, and I can't remember exactly who said it, but I'm going to go with it here. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And you can't go into a football game thinking, timid or I can't or we won't, because that's just a doorway to some ugly things. And that's something that I'm sure the Butte County coaches stressed a lot this week in practice, that no matter who's on the field, we got to compete. We got to go out there, we got to play, and we got to bust our butts because we're one of the beacon programs in this state, and we can't have that happen again.
Yeah. So can you tell me, Will, there's only one other quarterback listed on the Butte County roster. It's a freshman, Barrett Waymeyer. Can you tell me what they did at quarterback and maybe what the plan is moving forward?
Well, it was mostly Connor Williams, and it was very clear that it was very clear he's a good athlete. Very clear he's a good athlete. It's also very clear he was still trying to kind of figure out what he was doing, making sure, thinking through the play calls, thinking through his progressions. They didn't throw much, but when they did, you could tell he wasn't really comfortable dropping back, planting, and throwing. And those are the kinds of things that it just takes experience. Take almost any high school player in the state of Idaho. Coach Kirkland, think about how many great athletes you had over the year, that if you told them on Wednesday, hey, you're starting a quarterback on Friday, it might not have gone real well. And on the scoreboard, it didn't go well. But again, the reps, hopefully, and I assume the coaches will be able to turn that into a positive for Butte County.
Yeah. When you lose your quarterback, that's your captain. That's pretty tough, and it hurt the Pirates in that particular game. They'll be back.
Yep. Okay, Coach, we've got a question in the chat here from Graham on YouTube. Do you relate Kendrick's success in the season opener to the legacy the previous head coach left? Zane Hobart departs after 12 seasons, won almost 100 games there at Kendrick. He's now coaching at Big 5A Lewiston. But how much does that, because you recently went through this as well, you handed the keys to the carry program to Coach Saili. So how much does that make it?
So we have a banner behind our trophy, inside our trophy case, behind all of the trophies from 2008 that says tradition never graduates. And I'm telling you, tradition carries. And Ty Kep is carrying that. He was part of it. He's lived it. Coach Saili was part of that. He played it, and he's living it, and he won it. And tradition goes a long ways with that. Each coach has their own different style and things that they'll throw in. But what has been done in the past has proven itself. And if you roll with most of that, adding your own style here and there, you're going to continue to have success because everybody's bought in, including every community member and all the players. So, Yeah, a great start for Kendrick, and I think it will continue throughout the season.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun for sure. So Kendrick, I think, has the week off, and then they'll get back.
No, they're back down here.
Oh, that's right. They are in Homedale, second week in a row. They're going to play on Saturday against Oakley, which is a perfect transition for us, Will, to talk about Oakley. They took on Grace in their season opener, and Grace a 52-6 victory. It's a new era of Grace football, Will. They have stats online, so I can tell you exactly what happened in the Grace game, who the standout performers were. Gavin Draper, 15 of 23, 236 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air to 3 different receivers, Bryant Moss and also junior Keaton Edwards, and then the big tight end, Parker Yost, the 6'5" senior. He had 5 grabs for 79 yards and a touchdown. And then rushing-wise, 4 different running backs find the end zone, Bryant Moss, Carter Kimball, Cade Kimball, and Chase Smith all score on the ground. So that's pretty good ball distribution there, Coach Kirkland, for the Grace Grizzlies. 4 rushing touchdowns by 4 different players, 3 receiving touchdowns by 3 different players.
And I guarantee you that wasn't by accident. I imagine Coach Travis Draper, new in this position, but been there a long time at Grace, said, I have a plan in mind here. I'm going to feed all the dogs a piece of meat here, and it's going to help us throughout the rest of the season. And he has some good ones there, and they always play a great first game and get off to a great start. Just ask the Cary Panthers, who scored no points against them a few years ago. It's terrible. But the Grizzlies get it going on, and Coach Draper has fed his Grizzlies, I guess we should say, and they're off and going.
Yeah, the Grace defense also 4 takeaways, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries. Will, I think you could look at the surface and go, wow, Butte County didn't look so great, and Grace looked fantastic. Does Grace finally catch Butte County this year? They've always been really close. I think it's still too early to make any sort of conclusive statement. And both teams, I think, are going to be neck and neck again.
Yeah, especially when they don't play till the middle of October. So those younger players for Butte County that are being asked to transition into a little bit different roles with Keaton Archibald out, they're going to have 2 months worth of reps and game experience and coaching under their belts by the time they actually play Grace. But this was a nice showing for Grace. You got an experienced quarterback, you got obviously a stable full of talented ball players to go out and make plays with the ball in their hands, and they came out of the chutes on fire. Oakley, it looked like made some adjustments at halftime and was able to tighten things down a little bit after halftime. But again, when you get in that hole early, it just makes it tough. And for Grace, if your mindset is we're going to spread it around, we're not just going to feed one dog, we're going to feed all the dogs. Mission accomplished. They did a great job.
Yeah, Grace back in action on Thursday night, little Thursday night football. They're going to host Raft River, which should be a really fun non-conference battle. Yeah.
Yep.
Preseason favorite over there in District 4. Speaking of District 4, Hagerman, state semifinalist last year, hosted the other state semifinalist, Logos, on Saturday in a game that we did on IdahoSports.com. Logos comes out and puts the clamps on defensively, a 34-8 victory for the Knights of Logos. And the big story here, Will, was the defensive line. They had 9 sacks as a team. 8 came from just 2 players, Peter Story, the nose guard, and then Josh Prince, the defensive end. They each had 4 sacks. It's just incredible.
Yeah, Coach Kirkland and I were both there. We were watching the game on the sideline, and there was a stretch in the second half where you'd think of those old cartoons where the coyote is about to have a huge rock land on his head, so he puts the little umbrella up. There were times where you thought that's what Wyatt Mavenkamp was going to do, but because by the time he had the snap and took like 1 step to set his feet, he had 3 white jerseys in his face. They were relentless. They did a tremendous job rushing the passer, and Mavenkamp just wasn't able to get away from it enough times. They had some opportunities, and Coach, I'll let you talk about this. It was 22-8 late in the first half. They were inside the 10. They had some clock mismanagement, missed a chance at a touchdown there to trim the lead, and then they turned it over on downs inside the 10 again later when it was still very much a game. So I think for Coach Hicks and the Hagerman team, they can look at it and say, hey, we did not play well, and we had a chance to hang in there if we can do some things better on our end.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity to go over there and watch two great ball clubs. We had a great game to get that thing started with. Logos pounding the ball on that first drive all the way down the field, something we haven't seen from Logos in a little bit. Just run, and but they had the dudes to get it done and kind of set the tone. And then Case and Knight catching an 85-yarder, breaking a tackle on the outside, streaking down the visitor's sideline for a touchdown to kind of put it back into perspective. And then things kind of balanced out from there. Logos in a great punt return for a touchdown and closing the gap once again. I don't know if it was a catch or a run for their third score. But Hagerman did have some opportunities there, like I say, Will, in that first half, right before half, to close some things out. I felt like there wasn't a sense of urgency to get some plays in, to get that score going on. Everybody seemed to be just a little bit discombobulated to finish that first half. And it seemed to kind of continue in the second. But Logos, man, that defensive line just gave them fits all day long and frustrated Maven Camp and company. And so it was difficult. You know, when you send a guy on defense up the middle and you cause chaos right off the bat, where do you look? Do you look left or right? Well, when you got two of them coming, you better, turn and run. And poor old Wyatt had a lot of negative yards in that game, trying to make something happen for his team. But Logos defensively, wow, looking very staunch.
Yep. Yeah, Graham in the chat, inclined to agree with you guys. D-line from Logos was world-class that game. Hagerman QB couldn't get comfortable all game, and that really told the story.
And that's an all-state QB. I mean, that's a guy that you talk about experience and savvy and whatnot. That's a guy who knows what he's doing. He led the entire state of Idaho, regardless of classification, in yardage last year. So he knows what he's doing. He's stood in there when there's been a rush before. And for much of the game, he just had no chance. And Hagerman's got a good coaching staff. They'll make some adjustments, and they'll be okay. But I think that one thing when you come out of week one, I think if things don't go your way, you want to at least be able to point at something and say, there's something I can fix. And for Hagerman, it's, okay, we got to tighten up some blocking schemes. We got some players. We know we got the quarterback. If we give our guys some time to throw the ball and get, set his feet and make some good throws, some good reads, they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Yeah. Hey, here's Wallace Miners Athletics in the chat, guys. How about those media polls this week? They're keeping an eye out, probably because Wallace did not catch a single vote in the 1A poll. I'm going to guess there. You can find those on our site, IdahoSports.com, but quickly the top 5 in 2A. Kendrick 1, Logos 2, Butte County 3, still getting the nod for playing a tough team. Grace 4, Valley 5. Valley has not played yet. They've got their season opener coming this week, as we talked about, against Butte County. So that should be a really interesting matchup there. But that's going to give us a chance to transition to our Coach's Corner segment here on the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast. This is something we introduced last year. Every week we stopped down with Coach Kirkland, went to the Coach's Corner, and one residual comment here for Hagerman from Sarah. Just wait, Hagerman will get it together, and watch out when they do. Yeah, I think any sweeping generalities made after 1 week is a fool's errand. So, for sure. But back to the Coach's Corner. So last year we kind of picked Coach Kirkland's brain. I kind of gave him a different topic every week, and we talked about 2-point conversion plays and how do you overcome injuries and how do you get a team ready for a championship. And it was really nice to tap into the mind of Coach Kirkland, one of the best 8-man coaches Idaho has had. And so we wanted to bring back the Coach's Corner this year, but I thought this year we could flip the script and find out a little bit more about all of these great coaches that are continuing to teach our young men and women the game in the state of Idaho. So Coach Kirkland, this year the Coach's Corner is going to be all about you talking to a different coach each week and kind of getting their story. I really like this idea.
Yeah, I appreciate this idea. I'm a little nervous about it. So I'm talking about my comrades in the game here, my friends, and I hope I hope I do them great justice. It's take a lot of hours to put these things together, and I hope you get your stories right. But this first one has been a lot of fun to put together. I will use my notes from time to time on a script that I've prepared, but I think it's a great opportunity to give back to the coaches in the game, to find out who they are, what their philosophies are, what's in their programs, how they got started, a little bit about family life. And so we're going to give it a shot this week. So this week we are headed to Eden, Idaho, home of Valley High School, where we meet a coach whose story is rooted deeply in his hometown, from running track and playing football at Valley as a student to now mentoring the next generation on those same fields his life has been shaped by. He's currently coaching football, wrestling, and track. He helped transition Valley to the 8-man game in 2014. He's a teacher of character, and he's an amazing football coach. That is head coach Brian Ayers. Got to go see, I hope that was good, Brian. Got to go see Coach Ayers this last Saturday at a jamboree and get his team ready. And we're going to talk about some of his strategies and things that he has done here throughout his life. Coach grew up in Eden, and football always part of his life. He played football and ran track at Valley, graduated in 1990. And I got a little story from that graduation from Coach Hardy while I was there Saturday. He said the Vikings were state champs in 1991. Coach Ayers graduated in 90. Coach Ayers' birthday is in mid-September, and his parents chose to enroll him as a young student. So Coach always jokes about being robbed by his parents of a state championship because his parents put him in school a year early. And of course, he would laugh about that. But he might have been serious, because that Valley crew that is there right now are all from original Valley natives, which is pretty cool. So in the fall of 92, 2 years after Coach Ayers graduated, at 19, we got another 19-year-old. He was given the opportunity to come back to Valley and begin his coaching career as an assistant football coach and volunteer track. He completed his college education and was hired in 96 at the middle school, starting to coach football, wrestling, and track at various levels, and began as an assistant and a head coach throughout his career. He would say, to say that coaching has influenced my life would be a 100% understatement. And in this next slide, his mentors are amazing. Now, these mentors, of course, are Avengers and Marvel characters and such, but the types of names that go with the mentors that brought Ayers to where he's at are just as legendary, and now Ayers is among those guys. But perhaps you've heard the names of Rod Malone, who was my shrine coach in 1889. Woo! 1989. Woo! We're not going back that far. So we got Rod Malone, Marguerite Astoria, Marlon Muslin, who is still there, Scott Tingey, and George Arosa, all famous names from the Magic Valley, from the original Valley cast, but now Coach Ayers, part of the new Marvel DC Comics thing right here. I thought this was fitting. Doesn't he look good in that slide? He looks like he's got some sort of special power. Well, he does, okay? He does have a special power. He says, football, in the next slide, was a big part of my life growing up, and it helped shape me into the person that I am today. After graduation, I knew I wanted to stay involved with the game and be involved somehow. I didn't mean for those other graphics to be in white there, but he was an assistant coach for 11-man until 2006, learning the game. And we'll talk more about that in his first years, but 24 seasons, paying the price, learning and being mentored by Marlon Musman, in becoming the head coach in 2006 for 11-man for a bit, and then 2014 going to the 8-man realm, being the runners-up in the state to Prairie in 2014, and then winning an own title in 2015 as the head coach, and in one of those games, scoring over 100 points. I think it was 104. But a powerful team, and made a statement when he joined there. He took a hiatus to watch his daughter at Twin Falls High School play softball, and took himself off as the head coach. Now, that's a family man. We'll talk more about that in a minute. and then later returned in 24 to become the current head coach today. So when Coach first when Rod Malone stepped down in 92, Marlon Mussman took over, and that's when he gave him the opportunity to begin coaching the O and the D line and 11-man for quite a few years. And so he started his career there. He says, when I started, I thought I actually knew something about football. Boy, I was wrong. Learned something more about the game in the first month of practice than I had my whole playing career. If you know Coach Ayers, he is humble. He's a humble dude. He is not going to throw you any line. He is true to himself. And what he would say about his first season is right there in front of you. You never know enough. You're the coach, not their friend. Patience and communication are required, and relationships are the cornerstone. And it's not about me. He says, I'm the guide. I'm to assist and achieve, nothing more and nothing less. Now, if you're a new coach, pay attention to that, because those things are critical. Okay. And Coach Ayers learned from that and has taken it to the top. He also said, I learned that achieving my objectives is only possible if I can communicate effectively, and that building a relationship of trust and respect is paramount to success on and off the field. If you look at that picture there, this is at the Jamboree on Saturday. Him and his buddies, his old high school buddies, his coaches, and Marlon, his mentor, are on the sideline there getting the headsets ready and getting ready for their varsity squad to take the field. He says, when I was young, I got caught up in my own goals, and I didn't realize that my goals and my players' goals weren't always in alignment. I now realize that I'm part of the team, not just in sole possession of the direction that we go. And what a great philosophy there is. Yeah, a coach is part of the team, not just the guy on the white horse riding into the stadium calling plays. And that's a great thing to remember. To sum up his coaching style, Coach would say you need to be intentional, you need to be disciplined, and you need to be consistent. Let's talk about consistency for a minute. He says you got to demand it. Demand the best from your players all the time. Teach proper technique. Be consistent there and adapt to all the needs and abilities that come your direction. Concerning discipline, he would say, I model it every single day, in season or not. And I guarantee you that is spot on. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. When I say I'll be there, I am there. I teach the same expectation to our guys. If something comes up, they're expected to contact me, period, is what he would say. He says, I teach this to our guys all the time. If we fail to communicate, show up late, act out in class, or forget something, we roll the dice. And you see the dice there. Well, every coach, I hope, has some sort of easy way to discipline and helps athletes correct themselves. Some have a dice. I've seen a wheel that can be spun. Sometimes you pick a number and there's a consequence for that, or maybe draw a card, run 3 miles or do 200 push-ups on that. But coach has a backgammon board, and they shake the dice, and there's a list of reminders and infractions that go with the shake. And he said he only had to use it once in the last 3 years because a couple kids forgot their wristbands. And he's taught it well, obviously, because he's only had to use it once and modeled it well. And so his players respect him and honor him, and that's awesome stuff. All right, what is in the Viking program that Coach Ayers wants to promote to his community and to them? Number one, with his staff. Man, if your staff is aligned, and those guys are, you get things going. Alignment. I don't think he's not just talking about football, but getting along. Assignment. Okay, teach what is your job, and everybody has a job there. And teaching technique. And coach is a technician. Coach Ayers is a dang good technician. He coaches the throws at Valley High School, and those guys excel, and they're getting medals every year. And technique is what that's all about. And the same things happen on the football field. He expects his players to play hard, be physical. It'll be a word he would use in every other sentence in game preparation. And very important, the last one here, take care of your guys. No need to beat them up, and no need to beat them down. but make sure that they know you love them and that the Vikings can move forward, and the expectation is always high. What is Coach's outlook for this season? Well, what excites him most about this year? He would say it's our collective attitude. All of these guys have something to prove this year. They had a great season last year and ended in a disappointment in a close loss to Hagerman. But he says we have great team chemistry. Our numbers are down a little bit. I think I counted about 30. And we're going to outcoach everybody, and we're going to outplay everybody. And that's the expectation that he has. And all those great names that you see up there are some players that he is excited about this year, of course, along with everyone else, but some team leaders are returning back to take the team to victory. And their motto this year on the practice jersey, love it, man, respect, never given, only earned. That is beautiful, and you got to go to work. That says everything about his philosophy. Community support. Dude, the Valley had a cool stadium, and the bleachers set there looking over the stadium and the beautiful track and field area with awesome concessions in the back. The ice cream is my favorite, by the way. Is amazing setup. And just like all our small towns, they remind us we're in this thing together. And Coach has taught fathers and sons, mothers and daughters over his 30-year career. And he says our fans travel well. He says on Friday night, we're lucky. Our fans support us, not just at home, but on the road. He says, I don't know what happens on Friday nights, but I know that it gets loud, so loud that we can hardly call plays in sometimes. Some traditions he has in the Valley on Thursday nights, team dinners provided by the parents. And I hope you're all doing something similar to that, because that's a bonding moment right there. Food brings happiness to everyone, I'm pretty sure. Parents, community members provide those games or provide those meals for them. He says our players also give back. And he says we're a K-12 building. Our players work as mentors for elementary and middle school, and they officiate during the recreation ball games throughout the year and also help coach. So once again, Coach Ayers is raising his own set of young Marvel cast that will follow him when his time is up. Coach Ayers balances his life. This is a great photo. Football has shaped our life. His wife, Crystal, of 27 years, has cooked 1 million team meals, attended all those games, endured mood swings and absenteeism. Let me say that one more time. Caitlin has endured mood swings and absenteeism. Bless your heart, Crystal. You're still with Coach Ayers. You are a true coach's wife, and Coach has proven that he has put you first as well, and many times, even though some of those days have been and nights have been tough. Daughter Caitlin as well. Went to practice when she was 6 months old. How about that? Who's got a stat like that out there? I would love to see that. That's cool. She became the water girl for Coach, as well as a statistician later on when the numbers began to add up. And she played at Twin Falls High School. She played at Carroll College, and guess what? She is an assistant coach now at Carroll College. So Coach and his family, Crystal and Caitlin and Brian, they're in a great photo, maybe in the Sawtooth Mountains. I don't know. It looks good to me. Enjoying some time together, and they definitely are close. What does Coach enjoy most about 8-man football? Well, it's sitting down with coaches in the game. This, I don't think, is just an 11-man, but I think it's more so in 8-man, because we're all small town guys. And I think there's just something about 8-man coaches that I've heard over and over that's different. We're a little more realistic. And I think that's what Coach is trying to say here. Very willing to share and very talented. And Coach respects Coach Sam Thorngren of Butte County a lot. He says they transitioned to 8-man just like we did. We go to battle, and this weekend just so happens to be that upcoming battle between the Vikings and the Pirates. Man, that sounds like some sort of 1600 something going to happen. So that should be fun. Well, let's finish up here this evening with Coach Ayers' show. Here's some quick hitters that the coach would share with us. His favorite call in the red zone, anything that gives his quarterback options. Have you not seen that throughout his career? Anybody know Jason Hardy and the other Hardy? And I don't know who else was there. Man, options to do something in the red zone. Most memorable play must have been that first season, a 98-yard catch on 4th and 8 from the 2. I talked to Coach a little bit about this in review of his thing tonight on the phone. He says 98 yards was the catch, nowhere else to go. Time running out for the win, taking Valley to the championship game with a record there. So a good memory for sure. His personal life, he says, I'm a pretty private person, and he certainly is. He was not too comfortable sharing this, but I appreciate it, Coach. And people need to know about you and your legacy. And I think you are that great private person, but friend to all. Best post-game meal? Well, when you live from a small town, there's one place to eat, and that's the Snug in Valley. And it is a good spot. So I encourage you to stop in the Snug before the game and get yourself something to eat there. And advice to new coaches: more isn't always more. Keep your playbook simple, coach at the boardroom, teach your guys to make decisions on the field, and you'll help them grow. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Coach Brian Ayers from Valley High School. Appreciate you, Coach, for letting us talk a little bit about you here. Hope we did you some justice, and wish the Valley Vikings, Coach Ayers and staff, the best of luck this season. And we'll see you around, buddy. Thank you.
That was great. And that is just a snapshot of what we're trying to do this year, is peel back the curtain a little bit on these great 8-man coaches and these 8-man programs and these 8-man communities, so you can understand these coaches a little better, get to know them as people, and understand why these programs have so much success. I think the biggest takeaway I had, Coach Kirkland, was how much leeway he gives his players, right? His players are the ones that are executing. He gives them options out on the field, but he also gives them that accountability off the field. I noticed with the backgammon dice, basically you get one shot at the dice, and then, if you're back in there rolling the dice every week, you're asked to leave the team and, hey, try again next year.
Yeah. He doesn't put up with stuff. He has high expectations, and that's likely happened. But man, he those kids trust him. I love him.
Yeah. Here is Hayden in the chat. You were talking about Valley and scoring over 100 points. Hayden says it was 104 points versus Lapway, he believes, and that Valley team was legit.
If I remember the game correctly, Lapway scored like 60-something themselves. I mean, it was the textbook definition of a high school track meet.
Yeah, I remember there being a lot of long catches, a lot of long touchdowns, and it was that's a lot of kickoffs. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. So we appreciate Coach Ayers filling out all of the questions you had for him, Coach Kirkland. And so if you are an 8-man coach out there, you get an email or a phone call from Coach Kirkland saying, hey, we'd like to feature you on the Coach's Corner. It's a safe space. We're just trying to get your story out there to a wider audience. So if you get an email or a phone call, please respond, and we would love to share your story.
Yeah, we have a couple more in the hole here, waiting for some of those to get returned. But would love to put you on here if you're comfortable with that, and I'll try and do my very best. But you deserve it, you guys.
For sure. Okay, well, that is a good stopping point for us to take a break, because when we come back, we'll talk about what happened in 1A football last week in 8-man, and then we will take a look at what's ahead and make our game picks. It should be a lot of fun. Don't go anywhere. The Idaho 8-man Prepcast is back right after this on IdahoSports.com.
Once again, we have contributed to your ideal college savings program. Love, Grandma and Grandpa.
Ideal. Eventually, they'll appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. I love it.
College costs money.
Yeah. Yes, little girl, college costs money. A lot of money.
A lot of money.
That is where Ideal, Idaho's college savings program, can really help you out. They are the sponsor of the Idaho 8-man Prepcast here on IdahoSports.com. And guys, I'm really excited to announce this, but for the second year in a row, there it is, the Ideal Idaho College Savings Program contest, where one lucky student athlete from a 1A or 2A high school in Idaho is going to win $529 to go towards an Ideal 529 account. This can be used for college, trade school. It can be used to pay off student loans down the line. There's a lot of different options. I think there's even some IRA stuff you can do, real tax nerd stuff. So if you want more details, go to idsaves.org/home/IdahoSports. That's where all the contest rules are. This will be, we'll draw the winner again on October 25th. So, or late in October. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And go to idsaves.org for more details there. Last year's winner was a football player from Kamei, Rylan Skinner, to a sophomore lineman. So pretty cool deal. So go to idsaves.org for more details there. Okay, let's continue on with what happened in 1A football last week. Will, let's go north to the North Star League. Every single team was in action. Wallace, Coeur de Christ, Clark Fork, and Lakeside. 3 of them got wins. Clark Fork, Coeur de Christ, and Wallace all pick up victories. Let's start with Wallace. They were the preseason favorites coming in. They played Timberline of Weippe. They get a 68-26 victory. Charlie Stone, defensively stud, interception and a fumble return for a touchdown. And then Gus Scott on offense, 4 touchdowns receiving. Will, he had 2 all of last year? He's already doubled his total.
Yep, he was limited somewhat by an injury last year, but he was also limited by an all-state player named Julian Davis in front of him who got a lot of those passes. And now with Davis moving on to his next great adventure in life, their great sophomore quarterback, Cooper Miller, he's going to have to find a new favorite target. And Gus Scott staked his claim, 8 catches, 4 of them for touchdowns. That's a pretty good start. And Timberline's a team that's going to have a chance to compete in the 1A White Pine. They don't have a ton of depth. They do have some talent, though. They're going to have to stay healthy.
And then, Coach, if we look at Coeur de Christ, they played Lewis County in a non-conference game. They get a 44-14 win. This game was supposed to be Saturday in Nez Perce, but due to poor air quality because of the wildfires, this was moved to Moscow Middle School. Didn't really affect Coeur de Christ too much. A 44-14 victory. Grant Clemens, 3 touchdown passes, 2 of them to Greg Hayes. Charles Jenny ran in 2 touchdowns as well. Coeur de Christ is a team I know that you've been pretty high on this year and a 1-0 start to the season.
Yeah, I know Coach Clemens was very busy this week getting his team prepared for that. I sent him one of those things to fill out, and he'll get to it, I hope, here soon. Getting ready. It's a very passionate staff, and Coach Clemens does not like to get beat, and I think he prepares very hard, and that showed up in that game with a 44-14 victory there. I believe his son's the quarterback, which is fun to work with there, getting him ready for action, and a great start for their program.
Yep. And this is a guy, Kellen Clemens, who was a standout quarterback in Oregon in high school, then played for the Oregon Ducks, played in the NFL forever with the Rams and Jets. And so going from playing 11-man football your whole life to now coaching 8-man football, it's been interesting to see that transition as well for Coach Clemens there at Coeur de Christ. And then for Lewis County, Jace Krantz leading the way, 11 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Jefferson Soderling also scored a rushing touchdown. And then, Will, how about the Wampus Cats? They are hosting Lakeside in a non-conference game. They will meet later in the season, and it will count in the conference ledger. 44-26 victory. Coach Patrick Young said in the preseason, we want to pound the rock. We want to impose our will. I'd say mission accomplished. As a team, Clark Fork, 21 carries, 350 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. That is a 16.7 yard per carry average. Big statement for Coach Young and the Wampus Cats. After not winning a game last year, they're 1-0 to start this year.
Yeah, spread the ball around, grind the defense down a little bit. That's a recipe to do some good things. And there are going to be a lot of points scored up in the North Star this year. And Clark Fork, they're one of them, whether it's Mateo Cruz, Peyton Chapman, Jason Mayorga. They've got some kids that can play and that can obviously find their way to the end zone. So they're going to be a fun team to keep tabs on. It's going to be a fun conference to watch. It's a lot of young playmakers in that league. And like I said, I think that there are going to be a lot of these types of 44-28, 52-20 or 52-40, just high scoring back and forth, just really entertaining football games.
Yeah, Mateo Cruz, the quarterback, 7 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a touchdown pass as well, 6 tackles and a forced fumble on defense. Jason Mayorga, the sophomore fullback, 7 carries, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 tackles and a fumble recovery on defense. Coach Peyton Chapman, big play, 2 carries, 78 yards. So that's, almost 40 yards per carry, 20-yard receiving touchdown, and a 65-yard pick six. Basically, when he touches the ball, hold your breath.
Yeah, something amazing is going to happen. And like Will predicted, and I think he's right, man, is there's going to be some high scores go on there. Lots of 50-yarders this season, and those things add up to make stats look amazing. But good for those kids and having some success early on, and a lot of it to begin the season.
One thing we should note, Will, with Lakeside, something we weren't sure was happening prior to the season, but Tyson Charlie and Halapione, the two all-league members from Lakeside last year, did not play in that first game. Tyson Charlie is not playing football this year. He's just going to concentrate on basketball, which is, he's a great basketball player, certainly. I'm not sure what Halapione's status is, but it changes Lakeside's makeup a little bit if they don't have those guys out there.
For sure, it's a bummer in a small community, in a small school. You need athletes, and when one of them, and it's Tyson's choice. It's his prerogative, and it's his decision to make. But man, it's hard to know you got a guy like that walking the halls, and he's not on your football team. That's a bummer. But when he opens a door for someone else, that's that next player, that next man up. Okay, here's your chance, son. A pretty good player just stepped aside so you could come in and play. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, I texted Coach Young from Clark Fork and asked him about it, and he said, we spent 10 days preparing for Tyson Charlie, and then we get to the game, and he's not there. So that's the way it goes sometimes in that season opener. So, congratulations to Clark Fork there. So the only team that did get a win from District 2's White Pine League, as Lewis County fell, Timberline fell, was Deary. Deary starts the season with a 46-0 shutout of Troy. Jarrett Keene was one of your 3 stars this week, Will, on IdahoSports.com and Idaho 8-Man social media. 9 of 14, 258 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 7 carries for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. And how about Blake Clark, big defensive lineman, a pick 6? You love it when one of those D linemen can get a pick 6, Coach.
Oh, yeah. Man, that's a crowd pleaser there. The crowd goes crazy, and a good opportunity for young men to touch the ball. The linemen don't ever get to touch the ball. It's sometimes often fun to run those guys on extra points, but a pick is amazing, and what an opportunity.
Yeah, Will, I think it's pretty clear right now. Deary looks like, and I guess I shouldn't have said Deary was the only team that won. Genesee also won, maybe halfway, 48-18. Jackson Banks, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, 11 tackles on defense. Cameron Holmes, 21 carries for 136 yards. A lot of special teams touchdowns in week 1. Carson Warner Hall had a punt return for a touchdown for Genesee as well. So Deary and Genesee both opened the season 1-0. And coming into the season, I think those were the 2 teams most people had kind of keyed in on as contenders.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 squads that most people anticipate to be near the top when this thing's all said and done. I think that both teams had a nice handful of talent coming back. And I know Justin Podrabski, the former coach at Genesee, who's now the offensive coordinator down at Lewiston, he kind of lamented the timing of his leaving is right as this bird is ready to leave the nest and go into flight and do these wonderful things. And fortunately, he was able to hand the keys to the car off to Jason Hansen, who's a great 8-man coach. And you probably, for the kids and for Coach Hansen, you probably couldn't ask for a much better situation than to marry the 2 of them this season. But, right down the road in Deary, Jarrett Keene, just a sophomore, but a good 2-way player. Jacob Meckling, a good receiver. There's some good players around him. That's going to be a fun race to watch.
For sure. If we go south now to the Long Pin Conference, we had Garden Valley playing Idaho City. Idaho City, a 2A Western Idaho Conference. Garden Valley 1A Long Pin Conference. A 20-14 win for the Wolverines. I didn't have a ton of time to dig into this one, Will, but does this say more about Idaho City or does it say more about Garden Valley?
I think to a degree both. I think that both of them are, and you don't hear this a lot, Coach, I'm sure you would vouch for this. You don't hear a lot of teams suited to play a 20-14 type game, but Jason Rober, the head coach at Idaho City, he's not going to be a drop back and throw it all over the field kind of guy. And Jason Yearsley, even though he's been able to do it in the past with some certain athletes, I think he has preferred to play a similar style of game, and he's got a a young running back, Marshall Coley, who's a fantastic young player. Max Yearsley, his son, Maddox Miller, Tyler Rowland. He's got some good skill kids there. So I think it tells us a little bit about both teams and the style of football that they're going to play. They're not going to be a team that more often than not, they're not going to be the team that goes out there and rolls up 72 points. They're going to be the team that plays, good, smart football, gets their 30 points and asks their defense to make a couple of stops to win a game.
Yeah, Marshall Coley was kind of the big dog, 16 carries, 108 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground for the Wolverines. And if you asked me, Coach, to rank who I thought would be Garden Valley's quarterback to start the season, I would have said Max Yearsley 1, Maddox Miller 2, probably Tyler Rowland 3. They're all seniors. Well, of course, it's 2 quarterbacks, none of them seniors. It's junior Tegan Goff and sophomore Payson Kelly getting the snaps here in week 1. Combined, they go 5 of 10 for 99 yards with an interception. Garden Valley very famously played like 5 or 6 different guys at QB last year. It looks like we could be in store for that again.
Yeah, fun once again to prepare for Garden Valley. Who's it going to be? That's an interesting mix there. But you got to get your athletes the ball, and whoever settles in that spot will do great as they get them trained up there. I think, Will, you called it last week when you said Idaho City's going to have a little bit different season, a better season this year, and it looks like they gave Garden Valley that game that you were talking about there, and 16 for 108 is a pound game. Yep. So both those teams just kind of getting broke in. I imagine they'll cut loose as soon as they get everything figured out in a few more weeks of practice. But 20-14 is a good way to start and good things to learn from that so far.
Yeah. Let's go to the Rocky Mountain Conference, District 5 and 6 over in East Idaho to wrap up here our 1A breakdown. Chalice and Shoban, this is a conference game right out of the gates. Now, Chalice gets the 52-0 win. A couple of things to consider. One, Chalice has the enrollment of a 2A school. They petitioned down to the 1A level for competitive reasons. 2, this is the first time Shoban is playing football since 2017. It's been a long time for Shoban. So the fact that they got a team together is great. You will have a chance to watch Shoban live on IdahoSports.com on Friday from the ICCU Dome in Pocatello. Shoban is playing Rockland at the Rocky Mountain Rumbles. We will be broadcasting that game on IdahoSports.com. I'm really excited to see what Shoban looks like there. I didn't have any stats on Chalice or anything, Will, but I don't know that you can take a lot from this one, considering it was Shoban's first varsity football game in some time.
No, it was good for Chalice, though, in that you had a veteran, savvy leader at quarterback last year in Jason Farr, and he graduated, and so you got to move somebody else into that role, and that somebody is Teague Erickson. And, his first varsity start as a quarterback, as far as I know, I believe it was his first varsity start. Maybe it's a little bit better this way to kind of ease in rather than getting shoved into the deep end by playing a team like Cary right out of the gate or something. So, he acquitted himself well. Garrison Applegate, a good explosive player for them, did some good things. And in talking to a couple of people who saw some of the game, they said, look, Shoban has some athletes. The thing that they're lacking right now is just experience, and that will come in time. And you hope that the program is able to stay with it. There were 15 to 20 kids out there for Shoban. They also had a big junior camp over the summer where there were another 20 or 30 kids out there. You keep those kids in, you keep them engaged, you keep them in the program, and eventually the dam's going to break and some good things are going to happen in Fort Hall. Yeah,
it'll be exciting to see with my own eyes what Shoban looks like. And
yes,
for Rockland as well, it'll be their season opener. So keep an eye on it. And then last but certainly not least, the North Gem Cowboys. When we did the show last week, Will, you and I had just gotten word from Coach Hatch that their opponent, St. Joseph's of Utah, had backed out. And so they were like, no game, which is a bummer because we have a hard time filling our schedule anyways. And we're like, well, that's kind of a bummer. The show got over, and we got an email just as quickly back from Coach Hatch saying, hey, we picked up another team from Utah, the Utah Military Academy. And Coach Hatch kind of told you and I that he kind of likes this because he said teams have a hard time preparing for our triple option on very short notice. He felt pretty good about how his team was going to perform. They get a 40-20 victory. Coach Kirkland, would you like to guess how many times North Gem attempted a pass in this victory?
Let's go with 2.
Close. One pass.
Dang it. Twice as
Uh,
many.
I asked Coach Hatch after the game, I said, I'm going to set the over-under for pass totals on the season at 19.5. So an average of about 2 a game. He said, I'll take the under.
He'll never let you down, man.
No, he won't.
That's right. Craig Yost, 0 of 1 passing there. But as a team, 42 carries, 410 yards. It's all about 10 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns on the ground. Of course, we know Craig Yost, 21 carries, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Will, how about this freshman, Clay Johnson, 12 carries, 101 yards, and 4 touchdowns. For a program like North Gem that's like, hey, if we have double-digit players on the roster, like that's a win. To have a freshman come in and make an impact like that right away is huge for a school like North Gem.
Yeah, good-looking athlete. They've moved Craig Yost from fullback to quarterback, replacing Rusty Hatch. So last year you had Rusty Hatch and Craig Yost, and this year it looks like the two-headed monster is going to be Craig Yost and Clay Johnson. And Johnson may be the guy that's kind of doing some of the wide runs, some of the sweeps and whatnot, whereas Yost continues to just attack right up, run right up his guard's back and pick up 5, 6, 8 yards at a pop. And it's, they're not shy at all about letting you know we're going to run the football. And if they feel like if they execute their offense, that they're going to be tough to beat because they can control the clock, they can control the tempo, they can keep the other team's offense off the field. But most importantly, if they take care of the ball, they're in control of the situation.
Yeah, Coach, North Gem has 12 players on its roster this year. 5 are freshmen. So if those 5 freshmen don't play, you only got 7 guys. That's not enough to play 8-man football. So it is critical that those young bucks came out to play.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty good numbers for North Gem, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I've seen 9 or 10 not too long ago. But Coach Hatch will take good care of those guys, and I'm sure that they're already men, and he'll put them under his wing and coach them up really well. And the Cowboys will be successful again. It's good to see him finding games down south. I know Utah started some 8-man football not too long ago. I remember helping St. Joseph's, writing a letter to the Utah Athletic Association recommending 8-man football for their school and the state. And it's good to see some more of those guys pop up in the games here. And that's teams from Idaho getting a chance at them. So
Yeah,
good start for the Cowboys.
Yeah, so 1-0 start to the season, which is what you always like to see. Okay, let's take a look at what lies ahead here. Week 2 of the high school slate. I will share my screen here. We have a couple of Thursday games. Thursday night football. You've got Clearwater Valley hosting Logos. You also have Grace hosting Raft River at the 2A ranks. I don't believe there are any 1A games Thursday. So those are the 2 Thursday night games. Tomorrow night, it is, again, Grace hosting Raft River and Clearwater Valley hosting Logos, season opener for Coach Alan Hutchins and the Rams there. Okay, friendly reminder, we're picking every single game this season, and I will keep track each week and update the updated scoreboard totals right now. Coach in the driver's seat, 8-3. In week 1, Will and I both went 7-4. We're each sitting a game back. So, Coach, as the lead dog, I will let you pick these first 2 Thursday night games.
All right. Let's go with a Raft River win. I think Raft River's been preparing, and off they go. And we'll also pick Logos.
Okay. Will?
Same.
Okay. I will take Logos and give me Grace. I'll take Grace there. So
now you have to do this sometimes in these contests, because if you pick the same games as the guy who's ahead, you're never going to gain any ground. So Brandon gets the early gold star. Unfortunately, it's going to backfire on him, Coach. We're going to pick up the win there.
There's a game within the game, right?
Yes. Yeah, donkey.
That's right. Okay, now we'll take a look at our Friday Night Flash scoreboard here and tell you what's going on Friday across the 2A and the 1A landscapes here. There'll be several more games to break down. So let me go ahead and share this. Here's what we've got for 2A football this Friday. You've got Wilder at Horseshoe Bend, Murtaugh at Cary, Hagerman at Dallas, Rimrock at Hanson, Lapway at Kamei, Garden Valley at Notice, Timberline at Potlatch, Deary at Prairie, Prince Ferry at Shoshone, Lewis County at Troy, and Butte County at Valley. A lot of crossover games here for the 2A. Coach, go ahead. Fire them off. What do you think here?
Wow, I put my glasses on for this.
Same.
Wow. Yeah. Horseshoe Bend Wilder.
Let's see. I made it a little bigger.
There we go.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
works there. Let me put my hand on my chin here, thinking hard. Well, let's just go with Horseshoe Bend over Wilder. And we'll pick Rimrock over Hanson. And Potlatch over Timberline. Cary over Murtaugh. Kamei over Lapway. Ooh, Prairie Dairy right off the bat here, huh? Two seasoned coaches. That'll be an interesting one. Let's go with Prairie. And then we will pick Hagerman. It's gonna have a rebound here. Watch out for the Pirates. And let's go with Notice and Coach Shepard's first W. Let's see what happens there. And go with Glens Ferry.
Okay. And then the two at the bottom, Troy and Lewis County and Valley and Butte County.
We're going to go with Lewis County, and we're going to go with Valley. I watched them play. They look pretty good. I know Butte's going to give them all they got, and that game is in Valley, so let's go with the home team, Valley.
Okay. Will, what do you think?
All right. We're going to go Wilder. We're going to go Cary, Hagerman, Garden Valley, Kamei, Rimrock, Potlatch, Prairie, Shoshone, Valley, and Lewis County.
Okay, I agree with all of your picks, Will, except one. I'll take Deary. Give me Deary over Prairie.
That very well could happen.
Yeah.
I'm giving a small nod to Coach Hasselstrom there. But Deary could go in there and, shock the world, so to speak.
Yeah. Be a lot of fun for sure.
Okay, that'll be fun.
Yes. 1A, a lot of the same games because there's a lot of crossover. The 1A games that we're looking at, though, are Lakeside and Council. They are meeting at Prairie High School in Cottonwood, a meet-in-the-middle game, Friday, 1 o'clock on IdahoSports.com. We will be broadcasting that game live from Cottonwood. So you got Council and Lakeside in a non-conference battle, Rockland and Showban at the Rocky Mountain Rumble. You have North Gem hosting Camas County, Water Springs hosting Richfield. You've got Court of Christ taking on Clark Fork, a battle of 1-0 teams. Dietrich and Mackey get their season started in Dietrich. And you also have Salmon River hosting Genesee and Adrian at Tri-Valley. The Adrian Antelopes, no joke in Oregon 8-man football. That is going to be a tough test for Tri-Valley out of the chutes. So, Coach, who do you like between Lakeside and Council?
Let's go with Council on that pick. And then we will go with North Gem Cowboys. Let's see.
You got Rockland and Showban.
Rockland, Showban. We're going to go with Rockland there. And then let's go with Richfield. See what happens there. Pick the local boys here. And Court of Christ. What else am I missing here? Salmon River?
Salmon River and Genesee.
Let's go Genesee. That's an older crew there, ready to go. And isn't Adrian Oregon the former state champs last year in Oregon?
Yeah, most years they are.
Yeah, a lot of years.
Yeah. Tri-Valley. That's going to be a war. Let's go with the former state champs, Adrian Oregon.
Okay. And then we got Dietrich and Mackey as well over here.
Okay. And let's go Dietrich.
Okay. Will?
Council, Rockland, North Gem, Richfield, Court of Christ. I'm going to take Mackey.
Salmon River, Genesee.
God, I'm going to have to. I'll take Genesee, but that's another one that I think could go either way. And then even though I can practically see Adrian from my house, I'm gonna stay in Idaho. I'm gonna go Tri-Valley.
Interesting. Okay. I will take Council, Rockland, North Gem, Richfield, Court of Christ, Dietrich, Genesee, and Adrian. Those are my picks there. So
okay, Coach Wagner, remember who's the one who took you?
That's right, Coach Wagner. We did not have any faith against the Adrian Antelopes. I will.
They hate you. They hate you.
I will gladly come back and wear it if I'm wrong, for sure. Okay, and then we do have a little Saturday action as well. Let me get this pulled up here on IdahoSports.com. Saturday, neutral site game in Homedale. It is Kendrick. It is Oakley in 2A football. I don't believe there are any 1A games. There are not. So the lone Saturday game, Kendrick and Oakley on IdahoSports.com. Coach, what do you think?
It's the Kendrick Tigers.
Will?
Same.
Yep, clean sweep for Kendrick. Ty Kep, I think, will go to 2-0 to start his career. So, big man football. We got 3 games for you this week on IdahoSports.com. Council and Lakeside at 1 o'clock. Joban and Rockland at 1 o'clock. That's 1 o'clock Mountain Time for that Rockland game. 1 o'clock Pacific Time for the. And actually, it's 2 o'clock Pacific Time now. They moved the time up because of referees. So you should be able to go right from Rockland to Lakeside and Council. And then Saturday, we'll have that neutral site game between Kendrick and Oakley as well. So it could be a lot of fun, for sure. Here's Max Oswald, our good friend from the Bonner County Daily Bee. He is on the Clark Fork beat for the paper up there. He says, Brandon, I was relying on you to pick Clark Fork. Go Cats. Hey, I'll gladly wear that one too if I'm wrong. Coach Young may not take my phone call if he finds out I didn't pick his team.
No.
So.
Your texts do not get returned anymore.
That's right. So, and again, I'll keep track of how we're doing all season long, and we'll update it next week here on the Idaho 8-Man.
And let's just say, I want to put this out there. Obviously, this is in fun. Okay,
Right.
I know that sometimes people think, oh, you're just a hater. You're just a hater. We're not haters. We are 3 of the biggest proponents of every 8-man team in Idaho that you're gonna find. We're just having a little fun with it.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. If we pick against your school, use it as motivation. I love being wrong. I love coming back and wearing it. I was wrong about Centennial Baptist, right? That's a great story. That's what makes it fun. So
Yeah, great story.
Yep.
And if we could have a tie, that'd be great. But we have to break ties, guys. So
that's right.
hope you all win.
Exactly. Yep. That's just the way competition goes. So, all right. Well, thanks for tuning into the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast, everybody. We do this every Wednesday night on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, and X account. It's brought to you by Ideal, Idaho College Savings Program. Will, where are you going to be at this week? Just hanging out at home?
No, my daughter is taken a liking to taking some pictures. She took some pictures down in Hagerman the other day, and they were posted on the Idaho 8-Man Instagram account, and some of hers were better than most of mine. Let's put it that way. She did a really good job. So I think we're going to go to Notice in Garden Valley tomorrow because it's just right down the road from, or I'm sorry, not tomorrow, Friday, because it's just right down the road from us. And then Saturday, we may wander down and watch, see some of that Oakley Kendrick game.
Cool. Coach Kirkland, you going to be at the Cary game?
I'll be right here at home watching the Panthers against the Devils and breaking in a brand new scoreboard. I'll have to take a photo of this thing once it gets mounted, but it is massive. It's going to be awesome. I'll send you some photos.
Nice.
Hey,
yeah.
Speaking of scoreboards, in case you missed it at the start of the show, you see that 24/7 scoreboard behind Coach Kirkland there. If any team out there has a final score this year of 24-7, you take a picture of it, you send it in to us. Coach Kirkland, you're going to drop $50 for the program, little pizza party or something.
Yeah, let's go. We support you guys.
Yep. Cool. I love it. So big thanks to everybody for tuning into the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast. Enjoy the games this weekend, everybody, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday for another edition of the Idaho 8-Man Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.